And moving on from surprise player to surprise team. Now, my nomination, there's only two. They've both got Z in their name. It is either Lazio or Monza. Curva Mundial Pod say surprise team Napoli. The North Curve say surprise team Napoli. Joe Spagnoli says surprise team Lecce. Fede Facco says surprise team Bologna or Monza. Footlol say surprise team Napoli. And yeah, Adam, any of those on your nominations? You got any others to throw in?
It won't surprise you, but I've got Napoli on there. Just because, unfortunately, they were a surprise. They weren't expected to win the title. But I think I'm going to go with you on this one, where I go Lazio. Lazio have been incredible this season. And I think I've already kind of given the context when I was talking about Serie. But I think the way that they've gone about the business, they've created a lot of opportunities, scored plenty of goals, been defensively quite sound. And like when I put my kind of goals of the season, it's taken spectacular goals really to be like conceded by this Lazio team. It hasn't been necessarily tap-ins or like dubious decisions, shall we say. But yeah, I think they've been really solid. They've surprised a lot of their fan base. The fact that they've managed to maintain a top four finish in the end has been fantastic for a club that's been, I think, missing from the kind of top four mix for a while, it has to be said. You know, I can't remember the last time that Lazio were in that top four mix. It's been a while. And I think against that backdrop of Roma, you know, kind of rising, and they've gone about their business really quietly. They've nabbed, you know, ex-players like Pedro, brought him across, and he's been magnificent for them during the course of the season. Don't forget, Ciro Immobile, as much as he's been the top goal scorer for them as well, but yeah, it hasn't been relied on necessarily for all of the goals, which is the difference. Whereas previous seasons, it was always about Immobile is the main goal scorer. Whereas this time, the goals have been spread out. Even like from a defensive point of view, they're scoring a lot more goals, midfield contributions. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic has definitely played a much more pivotal goal.
Has had a very quietly good season as well. Felipe Anderson's got a very like a good number of goals. A player that looked a little bit lost at West Ham, and he's come back home, and he's absolutely smashing it up. I think Zaccagni, as we've talked about, has been incredible since he arrived. I think there's a bit of a less of a reliance on Immobile. It makes them a bit harder to deal with, a bit less predictable. And I think for them to finish second, and there was a point like they nearly threw it away at the end, and it was a lot closer than it should have been, but they still finished 4 points like above Milan in fourth place, right? Yes. 2 points ahead of Inter. And I think, but there was a moment where we were like, they're comfortably the second best team in Serie A. They're comfortably number two. And I think it's right that they got the second spot. It doesn't make it any less surprising because I did not expect it at all. But it shows you how surprising they've been, how surprisingly good they've been, because it feels like that's where they belong. They should have been second. They were the second best team. So yeah, the more time Sarri spends at that club, the better they're going to get. Like he's not a manager who like has 3 seasons like Mourinho, then it all falls apart. It takes him time, but when he gets there, it really, really does get good. And I think third season under Sarri is going to be super exciting because we've said that the title race is wide open. We could get 5 winners in 5 different years. Honestly, I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility. So I think, most surprising team of the year, Lazio. Congratulations, Lazio. Surprising team of the year.